Hello everyone. So today I'm going to present Rewriting Empire, Jean Reyes, White Sargasso as a post-colonial feminist response to Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre. So these are my personal information, table of contents, and my research questions. That how does Jean Rhys White Sargasso reclaim the silenced voice of Bronte's Bertha Mason by transforming her into Antoinette Causeway, and in what ways does this act of rewriting expose the intersection of gender, race, and empire that underpin Jane Eyre's feminist narrative? And to what extent does White Sargasso succeed and simultaneously struggle to challenge the imperial and patriarchal ideologies of Jane Eyre? And considering Greece's own white Creole positionality and her representation of Black Caribbean characters and her use of fragmented narrative form. So my hypothesis is that this research hypothesis that Jean Rhys Wide Sargasso function as both a post-colonial and feminist counter discourse that reclaims the silence that made woman in the attic as a complex subject shaped by colonial history and gendered oppression. That by granting Antoinette Causeway narrative consciousness, Rees exposes the imperial foundation of Bronte's feminist voice and redefine madness as a product of displacement and patriarchal violence rather than moral failure. And however, the novel's resistance is not ambiguous. Ree's position as a white Creole writer and her marginalization of black female character reveal that even a text of resistance remain entangled in the hierarchies it critiques. Thus, White Sargasso similarly deconstructs the imperial feminism of Jane Eyre and acknowledges the impossibility of a wholly liberated female voice within a post-colonial framework still haunted by empire. So first we have introduction that Jean Rhys White Sargasso is rewrites Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre as a post-colonial feminist critique of both empire and patriarchy. So in Rhys reclaim her as a Antoinette Causeway, a Creole woman with memory, emotion, and identity, and shows that madness arises not from innate voice, but from colonial displacement and patriarchal cruelty. And here, critics like Haidt and Lancer that argues that Bronte's feminism depends on silencing the racialized other. And Haidt exposes the governance narrator's authority as a fictively female, while Lancer showed that Jane's empowered voice is sustained by Bertha's muteness, proving that gender difference is not different enough. And Rees reverses this logic that centering the Caribbean as the true locus of narrative and moral authority. So here, Howell noticed that Ree's position as a white Creole complicates her post-colonial stance, and her fiction both critiques and inherits colonial hierarchies. So first point is that the mad woman speaks, giving voice to the silenced. In Bronte's Bertha, we can see that in Jane Eyre, that Bertha Mason serve as a crucial structural function, and she must be simultaneously inhuman. That to justify her confinement and morally culpable. So it is a to validate Rochester's desire to remarry. And here, Ree's intervention. Antoinette's subjectivity that Rees transforms Bertha from a cardboard figure into Antoinette's causeway, providing her with her childhood memories, emotional interiority, and a Caribbean culture identity that challenges European definition of sanity and femininity. Yeah, and here we can see critical scholarly position. So in the novel, it hides notice that exposes the authority of these earlier governance narrators as only fictively female and singular as a occupying the ideological position of men, and reveals that how narrative conventions that confine and finally eradicate Bertha are at the same time way of bringing a rebellious female protagonist back into the patriarchal fold. And next is the problem of female anger and madness. So in here Bertha is a uncontrolled voice. So in Jane Eyre, we can see that Bertha's uncontrollable voice, which insists on being heard even when her body is shackled, and is the frame that makes safe Jane's outspokenness and reveals it as a ultimately unthreatening to the social order. And here Ree's reclamation is that in White Sargasso Sea, the wife turns to her cousin after her husband has copulated loudly with her own maid in the adjoining room. So it recontextualizing behavior that Bronte represent as an inherent voice. And third one is colonial violence and racialized femininity. So in that the imperial logic of Jane Eyre. So in Bronte's novel, we can see that Bertha's Creole identity becomes conflated with madness and moral degeneracy. She represents tropical excesses and uncontrolled sexuality and racial contamination. So in Rees post-colonial critique, we can see so White Sargasso Sea reveals the culpability of Rochester's first wife as a function of narrative conventions. And this woman behaves as if she must in order to bring about a euphoric conclusion to a sequence of events solely marginal to her own story. So here we can see reversal of causation. So in Ree's version, madness becomes the consequences of the wife's being cast out rather than a cause, and the unchastity of Ree's protagonist is the consequences rather than the cause of her husband's colossiousness and infidelity. And fourth one, the fire, deconstruction or liberation. So in Bronte's version, we can see that in Jane Eyre, that Bertha's burning of Thornfield is presented as so first is final proof of her dangerous madness, and then tragic deconstruction requiring Rochester's heroic intervention, and third is necessary clearing of obstacles to Jane's happiness. And in Ree's reinterpretation, in this we can find that ending becomes a very celebration where Antoinette embracing her role as an intermediary and between cultures performs the only kind of heroic gesture available to women. So here the Caribbean is an absent presence. So here we can see that White Sargasso sees geographical politics also, that in the novel makes visible how for Antoinette it is England that is unreal, a cold dark dream. And while for this woman England is necessarily a fiction. So in Bronte's fiction and the cardboard house that contains her so completely is already written account of her destiny. This is the narrative authority and the politics of voice. So here, I agree with this point that the novel's feminism is compromised by its imperialism, and authoritative voice in Jane Eyre is even more peripheral. Then critical evaluation of this argument and complication. So here Gayatri Spivak argues that we must read Jane Eyre as an allegory of the general epistemic violence of imperialism, a construction of a self-immolity and a colonial subject for the glorification of the social mission of the colonizer. So this here I put further reading for the this topic. In conclusion, that Rees by Sargasso Sea transforms Bertha's madness into a historical system of empire, and exposing how Bronte's feminist narrative relied on racial and colonial silencing. So this is conclusion, and these are the references. Thank you. If you have any questions.
Shruti, my question is, in what way does invert the center periphery dynamic between Europe and the Caribbean?
Yes, here we can see Rochester as a European authority and is aligned in the Caribbean. So, and here Antoinette rooted locally, and it asserts cultural agency and also reversing colonial hierarchy. In today's time, we can see that migration and diasporic literature also explores similar north-south power dynamics. So that is the question of answer of that.
My question: does Jen raise a fragment from a challenge or a reinforce a stereotypes of a female haters?
Okay. Here, Reese dreamlike non-linear storytelling that challenges patriarchal control, but can be this mistaken for hysteria. And here, this reflects Antoinette's state that her voice shows both freedom and as well as the collapse. And here we can see that that unstable from highlights that how women's emotions are often unfairly this labeled as abnormal. So that is the answer. Thank you so much. This is from my side.